So I was going to start this by facing my garden, but then I saw this pretty little butterfly or moth, whatever it is, if it would open its wings. Probably going to be one instance I do this. But there you go. Yep. So yeah, that was kind of fun. Anyway. I deep watered everything last night, and I'm out here exploring it, and I'm really happy because this experiment was just mixing different flowers together to see what they would look like. And I mean, granted, it looks kind of scraggly right now because some of them have already bloomed, but it was called blue salvia. It was like really vibrant purple, as well as pink salvia in here. And then I don't know if I actually planted the Queen Anne's lace or if it just came up because it's everywhere in my yard, so I don't know. But then I had forget-me-nots and morning glories in here. And I think I have snapdragons in there too. I think that's what some of those are. We'll find out. If I'm wrong, it'll be a weed and I'll pull it. But I really like how the blue and the pinks and the purples and the whites go together. And they just kind of give a cottage garden vibe. That was all forget-me-nots. And then there's a valerian back there. The valerian's from last year. It came back. It made me happy. It'll get transplanted into the ground. And then my catnip. As much water as I gave it, it kind of looks like it needs more. So, yeah. I'm going to go ahead and deadhead this one because there's not really any pollinators that are coming and giving it attention. But the ones that are over there, the bees are all over all the time. So I'm just going to go ahead and leave them like that for now. And once they've all gone to seed and the bees are no longer there, I'll go ahead and deadhead it. Hopefully it'll still have time for another flush of blooms, but as long as they're in there, I'm going to let them eat it. So let's see. Not super anything important on this one. I still really like the oregano. I might actually plant that in the yard too because the blooms are so pretty. My sage, it's a little puny, but it looks better than it did before I watered it. Valerian's doing fine. Dill's doing fine. Lavender's blooming, so that's cool. I tied up the salvia and it flopped over. What the hell? Why? Why? Stop it. So I'm going to have to go get a dowel rod and just make it stay upright. Other valerian's great. Other salvias are fine. Thyme that I didn't realize was thyme is fine. Chives are fine. More lavender. That one's actually already went to seed, so I need to deadhead it. And over here, my echinaceous lamb's ear have recovered perfectly from being eaten by the bunny. Here's all the bee food. I never had a clue that catnip would draw them in like this. A little marigold down there. My cosmos are in here too, but I don't see any blooms forming yet. And then these echinaceas are awesome. I didn't have a clue that they were going to get this big. So I might actually just transplant these into the fence rows at the end of the season when they're getting ready to go dormant, because they would be really pretty. I like the height. Let's see. Peppers are super happy. Like I said, I did deep water last night, so they'll be happy. I don't know if I'll be happy with my water bill, but we'll see. The eggplants are kind of recovering. I'm not seeing flea beetles out, so I haven't sprayed them, because if I don't have to spray, I don't want to. And interestingly enough, I think I finally have enough predators that they're taking care of the pests for me, which was the goal, because I've been trying to draw in different types of like arachnid wasps and different bees and like assassin beetles. I really wish I would end up with one of those really pretty black and yellow spiders, because while I do absolutely hate spiders, that would be nice to have. Let's see. Bunching onions are great. Leeks are great. I went ahead and pulled all the onions that were going to seed because it was taking forever, and they had bulbed decently enough that I figure maybe they'll give these enough space that they'll actually get full sized. We'll see. Like I said, first year I've grown them that it's actually been successful, and it's just kind of one big science experiment. Alright. Oh, eggplant's great. The ones by the tomatillas are doing exceptionally well, so I need to make a mental note that planting my tomatillas and eggplants near each other is not a bad idea. I might interplant them next year. Tomatillas are phenomenal and are already loaded with baby fruits that have been fertilized or germinated or whatever the bloody hell. And still lots of blooms going. So I'm super excited about that because I like to make enchilada sauce with tomatillas. And since they're purple, they're probably green on the inside. But I'll find out when one harvests, right? Let's see. Oh, and the other thing about the peppers, you can see it better on this side. These are already loaded. They start off dark purple and they start turning different colors. I want to say it goes from purple to cream to yellow to orange to red, and red is considered like the ripest stage, but you can eat them at any stage, and they're not mild. They've got a pretty good kick, but I like them because they're pretty, and they make an excellent ground pepper flake powder. Like, it's just phenomenal. I like to mix a few of these actually together and make my own. Let's see. Still haven't harvested the pea seeds. Need to do that. Tomatoes and basil all look fantastic. All of my micro tomatoes are absolutely loaded. I'm hoping you can see it because it's really bright and I can't. But basil's super awesome recovery. I didn't tie these tomatoes up because they're all growing upright enough that I can weave them in without an issue. My purple basil's kind of turning green for some reason. Don't know why. These tomatoes are doing great. Micro tomatoes are loaded. This one is in the same boat. They are growing fantastically. They haven't really started blooming yet on the black cherry tomatoes. Well, no, I do see one bloom cluster. Okay, so it looks like they're finally starting. Whereas those already have a ton of blooms all over them. These are the black strawberries. They look so cool when they ripen. Oh, I actually have tomatoes already. Look at that shit. So yeah, I don't know if it would focus. There we go. Excellent. And then these micro tomatoes also are loaded with tomatoes. It's kind of hard to see. Oh, that one's not. And the basil's doing great. I deadheaded everything, so it should have another round of growth before it tries to bloom again. Squash had some fun last night. So I did end up with vine borers in both the container and in my bed, which was really annoying. But there's only been like 2 or 3 instead of like swarms. So that one, I noticed it last night. And my method of dealing with it is to turn my hose on jet, which is the most direct, like, powerful, I guess is what I would say, spray. And then just spray the stem where I know that the vine borer has gotten into, because there's always like a little mark. This one was actually a pretty good size mark, which surprised me. But you'll see like little yellow, powdery looking, not powdery, I don't know. It looks like bug poop, but it's yellow and it's what they have chewed through in order to get to the stem. And then these are my butternuts. My one cucumber is doing great, already has blooms. These two also look like they might have had vine borer damage, but I couldn't find an actual hole. So I just moved them a bit so they would stop trying to take over on the cucumbers, and I'm keeping an eye out. If I can't figure out where the critter is at, I'll literally just go get a thin bladed knife that I have specifically for this and stab the stem in a few places till I find it. And then it'll heal and the squash will be fine. So, you know, it works. Let's see. Did all those. Only other thing I've got is my elderberries are still covered. I don't think they ripen until, I think September is the harvest time. I'm honestly not sure off the top of my head because this is the first year that I've actually had enough to care. Last year I had some, but it was such a small amount and I already had some from a friend that gave them to me, so I just left them on the bush for the critters to eat. Also didn't spray this because I don't have a swarm of Japanese beetles. There was one that came in and did some damage, but it's not something that I feel is necessary to treat, so that's a good thing. Same thing with the elderberry. Got lots of elderberries waiting on to ripen. That echinacea has grown like crazy and I love it and it looks fantastic. I need to deadhead this. This is actually another bee balm, but it was like a bright fuchsia colored one. And I squashed in the container. Doing fantastic. Gooseberry's fine. Now that it's not swarmed. Orange echinacea is looking great. Lilac's hiding back there. So my husband managed to mow everything down. He just has these small spots that he needs to use the weed eater on, but I have to be outside so that he knows he doesn't like kill one of my plants again because he has a bad habit of that. That gooseberry's fine. I did not put that Queen Anne's lace there. Coreopsis is fine. I don't know what's going on with the gardenia. I probably should look into that and figure out what I need to do for it because it's here, but it's struggling. That gooseberry is fine. Rosa Sharon finally started blooming. Agastache looks fantastic. Russian sage, oh, it has a little bloom on it. it's not digging it over here. I probably need to look that one up too and see what's going on that I can help it with. My little zinnias are blooming even though they're so scraggly, but I absolutely love it. Let's see, catmint has already went to seed. Butterfly bush is doing both. I need to deadhead it so it'll bloom again. I don't think the Wagelia will bloom again. I'm not sure. Pansies are kind of They look pretty toasty, but they're not dead. So we'll see what happens. It's starting to come together like I want it to. And now that I know what kind of wildflower mix I want to use in some of the fence rows, I'll be able to do that this fall and just put the seeds down and let them overwinter. And then they'll just grow on their own next year, as long as, I make sure they have water.